But talking about financing, there is this new term, carbon financing. What does that mean? And how does it impact me? That's the question that you asked. Now, Madri Maina is the director for Africa at Systema Bio, where they work with smallholder farmers by providing access to technology, training, and financing to help the farmers produce clean energy, maximize local resources, and increase their productivity. Madri, thank you very much for making time to talk to us. For starters, just simplify this thing for us, this issue of carbon, because we see a lot of carbon being slapped next to different things. So when you talk about carbon financing, what is it?
In very simple terms, carbon financing is funding that is made available to projects or programs that are engaged in carbon emission reduction. These emission reduction activities are translated into carbon credits, and this is what is monetized in the carbon market, and it becomes a source of revenue or income stream either to an organization or to an individual who wants to tap into the carbon market.
Okay, so essentially there is this problem we call carbon.
Yes.
Too much of it.
Yes. If
I'm able to create a solution which can offtake some of this carbon,
yes,
then I can claim I can create an asset around this and claim some returns from it.
Yes, you can. That's the very simple explanation to it. It's just that there's a very strict and robust process where you have to work within internationally recognized guidelines and regulations to make sure that it's actually measurable and tangible work that has been done. It can be quantified, it can be reported, and the off-taker of the carbon credit is actually a genuine organization, and the benefits can be translated directly to the end user. This could be an individual or an organization as well.
Okay.
So it depends. You have to look at how many. There are various types of reduction activities, carbon reduction activities. It could be afforestation, where an individual or a community, I've seen most of it happening in communities like in Western Kenya, where people plant trees and they are able to report and measure how much carbon reduction is being done. It could also be inorganic waste management, where you treat organic waste instead of emitting greenhouse gas into the atmosphere, it's turned into a valuable asset, or it could be for energy use, for example. It could be any other form of regenerative agriculture, or in the clean cooking sector, where individuals or communities move away from open fire cooking technologies where they're using wood fuel or charcoal, and they transform into clean cooking methods. It could be biogas, it could be ethanol, or it could be any other form that is available in the market.
And looking at Kenya, even Africa as a continent, I mean, we contribute very little when it comes to carbon emissions.
Yes.
But the consequences of this, we majorly feel it.
Yes.
So talk to us, other than the opportunities that you've mentioned.
Yes.
These structures to be able to actually benefit from carbon financing. Where are these opportunities in Africa and Kenya, and how can people take advantage of them?
It's true what you've said. Africa is the least emitter of greenhouse gases, but we suffer the highest consequences, especially in Kenya. There's drought, there are floods, or there are extreme and unpredictable weather conditions. There are a lot of digital and physical platforms currently ongoing to educate organizations, communities, and people on the resources they have and the activities that they are engaging in, and how they can come together and tap into the carbon market. It's quite an extensive and expensive process, and that's why it's a bit difficult for an individual to get into it. But as a group or as an organization, you're able to tap into it and you get to enjoy the end benefits. The beauty about carbon financing, it's your day-to-day life. The activities that you're doing. If you're planting trees, that is what you're doing. If you're engaging in regenerative agriculture, it's your day-to-day activities, and the impact that you're creating that is what is able to create an additional revenue stream for you in terms of carbon financing.
Okay. So
Yes.
you've said there are different spaces and avenues, digital and talk to me.
Yes.
So, for example, as a community, we've decided we're going to plant trees. Now, that one takes a long time for trees to grow.
Yes.
So, for you to reach a point and say this, how much carbon we've taken off the world, and we need to, monetize it, it will take quite a while. So,
Yes.
what are some of the short-term engagements that we can have? Activities to offset carbon and find a way of converting that into financing.
In the short term, and to reap future benefits in the carbon financing market, there's something called pre-financing. This is where, for example, you're in a tree planting project for 10 years and you're starting at day 0. You can get an off-taker for the carbon credits you'll generate. Algorithms and formulas have been established. So it's a process where the carbon developer, in this case the community, will have to sit down with the off-taker and the verifiers and the validation groups, and be able to calculate how much credits will be generated from this, and how much will they be sold for, and how much revenue will they generate in a period of 10 years. Then you can get an organization to be an off-taker, and you get pre-financing even before the 10 years are over. It could be organized in tranches. It can be in the first year you get a certain percentage all the way to the 10th year.
Okay.
And that is what it drives activities now, it increases scale, and it's able to transform the lives of individuals now and not just wait 10 years from when the project starts.
Okay.
Yes.
And your specific interventions is to the smallholder farmers.
Yes.
Who basically, I'm pretty sure the food that we ate in the morning or in the afternoon comes from a smallholder farmer.
Yes.
In this country. Practically, wherever they are in the country, how can they plug into this conversation and say, I can help off-tech? What structures can they change within their business and how they run their farms to make them viable for carbon financing?
This would be, I'll throw this challenge more to the organizations that have already tapped into the carbon market and they are working in the rural communities. It could be smallholder farmers, or it could be just individuals, for example, who are buying clean cooking stoves. At Systema Bio, what we've done, we've educated every single farmer who owns a biodigester and every potential farmer when we attend forums or any other gatherings where smallholder farmers are involved. We conglomerate and bring these credits together, and since we are already in the carbon financing market and we have pre-financed some of our credits, we use them to drive affordability for our biodigesters. We subsidize them already by 50%. According to the value of the credits that we've calculated. With this pre-financing, you can also offer financing options to farmers with very attractive repayment rates. And for any organization that is looking to scale, you are able to reach more farmers through this process.
Okay.
Yeah.
And lastly, just to throw this out there,
Yes.
since the government is struggling to raise revenue left, right, and center, and government, I mean, it owns majority of our forests.
Yes.
Can that be quickly quantified so far, how much carbon the country has taken and turned that into a product and sort of make some money out of it?
Yes, the government can get into the carbon market as well, but the goal is not revenue from the carbon market or carbon financing.
Okay.
The goal is every carbon program always looks at least 2 more impacts that a project is creating, especially they need to be aligned with the SDGs, the Sustainability Development Goals. So the end in itself is still to be in the impact space, give back to the community, improve the lives of the community. SDG 13, which covers the environment, That one is a constant for every carbon project, but there needs to be additionality. So the government can look into how else can communities benefit if they decide to tap into the carbon market. It could be in the forestry or afforestation sector, but there needs to be additionality and drive other positive impacts in the community.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And briefly, I know there was a cabinet message, and there was sort of creating the foundational structures when it comes to sustainable financing, carbon financing, all that in the country. I know carbon trading is one of those things that not very active in our markets. Is there potential to make this big in Kenya?
Yes, there's potential to make it big, and that's why there is a bill that was adopted recently. And I think it's great that now we will have a structured way of regulation. As I've said, the purpose of this is to create a larger impact within the community.
Yes.
The government wants to make sure that every business that is operating within Kenya, that it can have measurable and quantifiable benefits to the community in a way that what you're saying you're doing can actually be measured and quantified in the areas of your operation. This could be by creating employment in areas where you work. There could be an improvement in health. There could be poverty reduction, and you could also be touching on gender issues in the various communities you work in.
Definitely. I think there's a conversation that we need to have more often, so that it sinks that carbon financing is actually something that we can do, and it's solving problems that the world is facing, especially in this era of climate change. But thank you very much, Maldrin, for your input. Maldrin Maina is the Director Africa at Sistema Bio, and she says that carbon financing is the way to go, and you and I, in our own personal space, we can create impact by doing projects that offset carbon. And even if we can work together, collaborate in community, which means we are taking more carbon, then we can quantify that easily and turn it into a product and exchange that for financing, which is a very interesting factor. So to many more of this conversation, but that's where we are putting a full stop to today's Business Today. Thank you very much for joining with us. I'm Nogib Kimboy, and up next we have Mbiu ya KTN. Stay tuned.